Also, if they fail to comply with reporting, they would be subject to discipline up to and including termination. And then clarifying definition that this policy in reporting arrest includes all employees, not just certain categories of employees. These recommendations came through Mr. Geis with Hammonds and Seals and would get us current with law and common procedures amongst other systems as well. Any questions about that one, about those amendments? The next policy, GBA, contracts and compensation. One small adjustment there, and that's just in our local procedures, is that as our policy currently reads, if an employee receives an additional degree or certification to be added onto their certificate that would change and adjust and oftentimes increase their pay, that pay increase would not begin until the next school year. So if you are receiving, for example, your master's at Louisiana Tech on the quarter system and graduate in November, and you receive that certificate upgrade from the LDOE, that pay increase would not start until the next August. And so our finance and HR departments are ready now with our new Tyler's system to be able to make those adjustments in their pay immediately when they receive that certification and that diploma. I think it's doing what's right by our employees. We haven't been able to manage that in the past, and that's something that we're ready to do now. So we just took out the statement that it says the following year, so it just is when they get that documentation to HR, we'll begin to adjust their pay at that time. Any questions on that one? The next one is file GBN, dismissal of employees. This was also a recommendation by our legal counsel that we have been extremely lenient, I would say, with our job abandonment and dismissal of employees, amount of time we give them to respond. And so this would shore up our policy to meet the limits of what's required by law. And so for job abandonment, our current policy reads they have up to 10 days to respond to, if they can not show up to work, not give a reason or report or put in an absence for 10 days before it's considered job abandonment. Louisiana law is after 5 days it's considered job abandonment, so we're going to adjust that from 10 to 5 is what we would like to do. And then for dismissal of employees, once they receive notice of the superintendent that they're being dismissed, instead of having 10 days to respond, they now have 7, which also aligns with state law. And what that means is we have to wait after dismissing an employee the full 10 days, and they are paid those days. And so this will, in turn, help us save money and then align with the law. And again, these are recommendations from Hammonds and Seals. Yes, ma'am.
So just to clarify, so if an employee does not call or come in, they have 5 days to do that?
Yes, so if they don't come in, they don't put in an absence in our system, they don't send an email or text, we're not able to reach them for 5 days, that is considered job abandonment. And they can be dismissed.
So after 5 days, that's when, but what if they show up the 3rd day?
They're fine. Then we would probably have employee discipline, measures taking place, because we've got, students in a classroom or a cafeteria with no employees, and so we have to make sure that they're coming, and we would document that. But after that 5th day of no communication, at that point it would be job abandonment and they would be dismissed.
Okay, thank you.
A little clarification on the arrest part.
Yes, sir.
I know you said it's not just a local arrest. Just to clarify, the arrest could take place in another state. They can be in California. If that happens, they're required to.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. And then the last policy we would ask to be amended is file JBC. That is our student admission and assignment. That is an extremely long policy, probably 15 to 20 pages. But there is one section that Ms. Yolanda Jefferson, as Director of Student Services, asked to be amended, and all that is the registration section of that policy to amend it to make it current with our procedures now. So we began 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, with completely online registration. Mr. Thompson's department did a great job in rolling that out for us. And so everything now, as the policy reads, doesn't talk about having to register online, looking for forms on the website. And so this was just updating it to the procedures we've done for the last couple years to make sure that if we have our parents and families looking in our policies as they're registering a child, that it's current. We also added a statement about the declaration of residency form. which is a form, again, we've been using for quite a while. It was just not listed as one of the online forms they could access, but that is available for them as well. And so just updating our policy to match how we do registration here in Bossier Schools.
Anybody else have any further questions on this one? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion for Ms. Poole. Second by Mr. Bertrand. All in favor? Motion passes. On to agenda item number 2, approval of the name of Airline High School baseball field, again presented by Ms. Andrea Spinney, Assistant Superintendent of Administration.
Yes, sir, thank you. I was contacted by Airline High School several weeks back about the desire to name their football field. So we followed our policy on facility naming. The committee members...
Baseball field.
Baseball, did I say football? I'm so sorry, baseball field. The committee members, we are required to have 3 members that are system employees, 1 member that is a board member or appointed by a board member in that district, as well as 3 community members. So the members on that committee were Justin James, principal, Toby Todd, athletic director, Neil May, PE coordinator for Bossier Schools, Mr. Creighton Cochran, District 7 board member, and then 3 airline alumni that are community members. Those were Jason Smith, Todd Sharp, and Robert Kyle. So the committee met and narrowed down to 3 names to bring to the committee this evening. Those names were the Clay Bohannon Field, Viking Complex, and Valhalla Field. And so the committee overwhelmingly preferred the name Clay Bohannon Field. The reasoning behind that is Coach Bohannon served as a head coach at Airline Baseball from 1980 to 1992 with a record of 250 wins and 80 losses. He had 7 district championships, 7 district coach of the year recognitions, 2 Shreveport Times coach of the year, 3 quarterfinal appearances, 2 state runners-up, and the 1991 LSWA Coach of the Year. And so that is their recommendation, but they offer those 3 options for the committee to decide on. I also have Principal James here if anyone has any questions for him.
Anybody have any questions? So you said Coach Bohannon was the overwhelming favorite of the committee?
It was, yes, sir.
Does
The Clay Bohannon Field was their choice.
Was there a
Ms.
state
Poole?
did he win a state championship?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thought he did. Okay, I didn't hear you say that, so,
The stats I received don't say that.
okay.
No, he did not.
Finals, Ms. Poole, they
Why?
were undefeated,
What time record?
30-0, and lost in the state finals 18-4. And then lost again the next year in the
Okay.
finals.
Thank
But
you. I just-
I will say this about Coach Bohannon. He actually brought lights to Bossier Parish. He was the first park that had lights, and schools would come here and play at night. And so it opened up a whole new opportunity for kids in Bossier Parish to play at night. And that was in 1980 is when he had lights installed at the Airline Baseball Park. Coach Bohannon? Oh, no, I saw him Friday. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. He's retired transportation, and he retired, he was a Green Acres principal, transportation supervisor, and then he's been working as the Parks and Rec director for the city of Bossier City now, and recently left that position in December.
He's very deserving. I thought he would won the state championship. That's, I know he was a great coach, very well thought of.
That always helps. So how do we just make a motion to approve? Okay.
I'll make a,
Okay, we got a motion from first and a second by Ms. Poole. All those in favor? Motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Spinney.
Thank you.
Any other comments? All right, that concludes our administrative committee meeting. Thank you, Ms. Spinney.
Yes, sir.